Well, there are a lot of teams who are looking to make sure fans get the opportunity to continue to go out to the bar game, get some peanuts and Cracker Jacks as the summer winds down to an end and the fall begins. And as they say, true baseball, the real baseball games begin to play. I understand the MLB trade deadline is approaching, is not too far away. So who are some players out there, or who are some teams that you feel still could use some help, or some players that can make an impact in a new uniform?
Well, the thing is, the wild card race in the NL is so condensed. You got at least 7 teams that are between 3 games apart from each other. You got 3 teams who are tied for first place in the wild card. So you just know it's a lot of buyers this year. So, I mean, it's going to make it tough. It's going to come down to the deadline on this one. Like, you got Marcus Stroman from the Blue Jays, starting pitcher. A lot of teams are looking at him. I know the Braves are looking at him. Madison Bumgarner, he was on the block, but the San Francisco, they've been surging lately.
Slowly creeping into that wild card position.
They're not going to win the division because the Dodgers just on fire.
But that wild card spot is there.
They're about 2 games behind on the wild card. And in the wild card, you got 2 teams that go. So, I mean, Madison Bumgarner, he probably won't get dealt. But you got, the Detroit Tigers, they got at least 3. They got Michael Boyd, he's a starting pitcher. He can be your number 2, 3 in the playoffs any day of the week. You got Nick Castellanos, infielder, mostly second baseman, but he can play all positions in the infield. He's having a great season. He'll probably find his way into a deal with somebody because the Tigers are looking to rebuild. Then they got Shane Green. He's a closing pitcher. So I know like teams like Atlanta, Philly, Washington, they're going to be looking at him because they need a lot of bullpen help. So right now, it's heating up right now. So these next 7 days, I know Alex Antopoulos, the Braves general manager, he was actually on air yesterday during the game, and he was, basically just saying like the calls are starting to pick up just because it was actually a change in the trade deadline this year. So, but the calls are starting to pick up, so we'll probably start seeing some moves within the next couple of days.
Real quick, give me a surprise or a trade that you do think we'll see happen before the trade deadline actually comes to an end.
I would say if I had to, Yasiel Puig getting moved.
I was just actually give a shout out to our man Jay Black from Cincinnati. He was talking about that. He said he had a funny feeling. Me and Black were together yesterday. He said he had a funny feeling that Puig would be out there. So you hear it. You hear the baseball expert, man.
Yeah, Puig.
Where you see him going?
The Yankees.
Nah,
Brandon
Yankees.
said the Yankees.
We don't need to talk
If the Yankees make a move, it'll be for an arm, not for a bat.
I'm gonna actually give you 2. So I think Puig going back out west to possibly San Diego.
Okay,
I was gonna say that.
Joining Manny Machado out there.
Wait, is Manny Machado actually doing anything this year for real?
Yeah, Manny's actually doing something. He's actually earning his money, unlike Bryce Harper. But we'll get to that.
Every week is a Bryce joke. Every week is a Bryce joke.
We gonna make sure it's gonna be the Stephen A. effect. He gonna have a Bryce Harper jersey on when the Phillies win the World Series this year.
Well, since y'all won't be winning no World Series this year, he won't be winning no jersey.
But no, honestly, San Diego, a lot of people should look out for them. I know they don't get a lot of pub, but Fernando Tatis Jr.
He's balling.
He's a baller.
He's balling.
He's a baller. He's gonna be one of the next greats. He's gonna be better than his daddy. The second move I see possibly being done is Noah Syndergaard getting moved from the Mets. Possibly either to the Yankees, maybe even the Braves.
I was hoping the Phillies. If they're going to trade him in the division.
The Phillies are looking at
if they trade him to the Braves, shit.
I was saying he going to trade him in the division. Go ahead, send him over to Subway. Go ahead, you take a Subway right to Queens.
The Braves are in the top 3 in terms of their farm system. So the Braves have a lot of trade assets. They got a lot of arms that are never going to see the light of day if they stay here with us. So they probably going to consolidate a lot of those. But I see Noah Syndergaard getting moved. They're actually looking at Zach Wheeler getting moved too from the Mets. So you never know.
Real quick, I want to give a big shout out to the South Side of Chicago, to the Chicago White Sox for being proactive and being the first MLB team to actually have the full netting What are your thoughts about? There are a few other teams that have it in play as well. I forget the other 4 teams offhand. Forgive me, but the White Sox was the first to actually go on ahead and get it done. Players said it didn't have a big effect on the game. Of course, it's to keep the fans safe.
Yeah. The fans were paying no attention. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
And the balls are still coming so quick that the average fan may not have
the hand-eye coordination.
If you're looking at it, this year has been one of the best in terms of exit velocity. That's how fast the ball is coming off the bat. That has been one of the highest this year. We've already talked about all the balls being juiced. You know what I'm saying? So, and the average fan, and this is me coming from, I played baseball for 16, 17 years.
You ain't played no baseball.
Okay. Check my resume. But the average fan, if they're paying attention or not, the way that ball is coming, you get knocked smooth, like, as in the words of Smokey, you get knocked the motherfucker out. Like, you get knocked out because you're not gonna be prepared for that. Whether you have a glove, whether you paying attention, any of that. And then honestly, the people who are protesting against it the most are the fans, which is crazy. But you saw the young girl in Chicago at the Cubs game, getting hit and having to go to the hospital. You see people getting hit all the time. And
one lady died from it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It is a danger. Like, aesthetically, you want to keep the game the same, of course, but sometimes you just have to make changes for the betterment of the game.
And this was one. This is a great thing to change.
And the White Sox always been proactive, though.
In the NBA, there's somebody that's lobbying for changes that need to be made. Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr recently made comments on a Warriors podcast that he didn't really like the way the Anthony Davis trade request went down, and he feels like players who still have 2 years remaining on their deals should not be able to make those type of requests and leave NBA franchises and organizations in a frenzy. He did give mention to LeBron James and Kevin Durant, saying that they did it the right way because they did it during free agency. The Kerr went on to go deeper into it when you sign these players to a contract. It's like any other business, so you begin to make plans. If you sign the team to a 4-year deal, you might have plans in that 4 years of how you're going to structurally map things out and pay people and X, Y, and Z. You have critics and some folks that are saying, Steve Kerr, I agree with what's been said, but Steve Kerr maybe shouldn't be the spokesperson. I don't see why not. I mean, because one of the biggest things I've always said about the Warriors built from within. So cats can talk all the shit in the world about them having 4 All-Stars and 5 All-Stars. Outside of Kevin Durant, the Warriors built from within. And when they did get Kevin Durant wasn't asking in the final 2 years of his deal to be traded to Golden State. He went as a free agent. Same as LeBron James. There was a lot of hoopla made about him leaving and going to Miami. And not as much, but even some about him going to Los Angeles. LeBron James' contract was up both times he decided to take the leap and go to new teams. Regardless, when the Cavs were struggling before the glory days and he was taking heat and flack, he didn't leave, whether there were trade requests made or he didn't leave. You know what I'm saying? He didn't leave. He stayed around. So what were your thoughts about what Kerr said, and do you agree?
I don't agree, really. I don't agree. I mean, because I don't mind Steve Kerr saying it. You can have your opinion, but my thing is, if I decide to leave a job and go take another job, cool. You know what I mean? Like, don't penalize me for that. But the problem with AD, basically, he told them, I'm not staying here, so you might as well trade me. Like, you might as well trade me. Honestly, he's looking out for you. Like, to be honest, because he could have just said, all right, well, do your thing, but I'm opting out next year, so go ahead.
Yeah, you'll be left with nothing.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
At least you got compensated. So,
but it was Steve Kerr's
2 years.
2 years.
But
technically, it's actually one. Technically, it's actually one.
Now, because when he made the request, it was 1.5. Let's say.
So here's my thing. He didn't say this when Kyrie did this. And that's what I think. And I was listening to this. That's another reason why I think people are like, Steve Kerr, you probably shouldn't be the one. Like if Pop come out and say something, I'd be like, yeah, okay, Pop, you got it. But I think with Steve Kerr, it's like when you did. I feel like you're doing this now because the West is loading up, and they're doing it because players are saying, hey, I don't want to be here. Send me here. And now it's going to be harder for the Warriors to win this chip because you don't have KD. Clay's out for half the season. You got D'Angelo Russell. Cool. That's fine. But with AD going to the Lakers and with Paul George forcing his way out, made it clear for Kawhi and him to go to the Clippers. So now it's harder for Golden State. But like I said, when Kyrie did this and it made Cleveland worse, when you knew you were going to have to face them in the finals, you didn't say this then. So I don't want to really hear from you now.
I don't think he would. If AD would have went to the East, he wouldn't have said nothing.
Yeah, I think
he would have said if AD went to New York or something like that.
At this point with him,
I ain't mad at that. I'm not.
It's just like this. You can't. Cause a lot of people still said it's kind of the same thing with you taking Mark Jackson's job. Some people can use that. Like Mark Jackson was there, and then it was his team. He built that, and differences happened. You became the golden boy. You went from the booth to a general manager. From a general manager to a head coach.
We're not going to talk about the general manager job you did in Phoenix.
In Phoenix, that you
botched.
That you botched in the run into the ground.
Then again, he is out here letting players run their own plays. But go ahead.
I mean, that is what it is, man. We're going to head to the NFL and head back to SoCal because some things are not looking too good for a team that's normally in charge. The Los Angeles Chargers and their running back, Melvin Gordon.
Your role play been kind of nice today, boy.
He rolling. Look at his shirt.
That's how I used to get the ladies, that wordplay, you know what I'm saying?
We are not trying to die for you.
Lingo L.
We already done got pulled up on. I ain't got time.
We are not trying to die for you again.
But in all seriousness, Chargers running back Melvin Gordon feels like he needs a new deal. He is definitely one of the most used running backs as far as running the ball and receiving the ball in the NFL. He's a young man, and he feels like the way his deal is structured, he may not get his money then, he wants it now. Many feel like the Los Angeles Chargers have a good chance of actually making it to South Beach to face the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl this upcoming season. I mean, that's the facts, though. If you look at USA Today, if you look at they're predicting the Eagles and the Chargers. I mean, I can't help that.
Your team can't stay healthy.
Matt Ryan ain't shit. That's not my fault.
We can't help your quarterback can't play a whole season.
I can't help that. But hey, we have a Super Bowl
behind Nick Foles. He ain't here no more.
I mean, I'll at least take the Ravens slander because they got some Super Bowls too. But 28-3, that ain't me. Tom Brady, we get him up out of here.
Listen, they knew Trump was coming to office. They knew.
Don't try to use that.
They knew
Don't try to use that.
They knew. Listen,
don't try to use that.
You can't make America great again with the Falcons being your Super Bowl champions.
It's one of them things. Like all of us, this our triangle in here. We all Birds fans: Falcons, Ravens, and Eagles.
But we're the top bird.
Yeah, we don't even let y'all come to our nest. Y'all got to stay down there. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all on the first floor.
Y'all can't get none of this food.
y'all on the first floor.
20, that ain't me. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, y'all done?
No, y'all would never do that. What about Flash Gordon? What about Melvin Gordon? And do you feel like he's worth the money? And do you think the Los Angeles Chargers will budge and actually pay him? He's holding out. He's not going to camp right now.
Well, here's the problem with this. Melvin Gordon, you have 2 years left on your deal. Unlike Le'Veon Bell, who had one.
The AD effect.
Right. So you can't hold out for 2 years. You're not making the same kind of money Le'Veon was making, and it's going to cost you more. Are you willing to sit out for the whole season? That's the thing. I know he's come out and say, his teammates are supporting him. That's cool. And I actually support you getting a new deal. I really do, because they use you a lot. But people fail to realize that Melvin Gordon, he gets used a lot now, and they forget he was one of the most utilized running backs in history at Wisconsin. So there's a lot of carries on that body. So I highly doubt, let's say they give him a 4-year extension. I don't even think he make it through that in the same luster as he is now. So it's like, yeah, they can give you the money, but it'll be for past performances. But where he has leverage is Phillip Rivers is old. So the Chargers window is real small. So it's like
Real small.
You got
Slim.
Yeah, you got Keenan Allen. You know what I'm saying? You got Hunter Henry. You can try to see if you can get Gates to come back. You know, and
Man,
you got
Gates
yourself.
gotta give it up, dog.
And they don't have anybody behind them that you can truly believe in.
They got Tyrod Taylor.
They don't have anybody behind him, Melvin Gordon,
Oh, they got.
that you truly believe in.
No, but they
They got a couple of people
They got
who
a couple,
like they
not
may
like that.
do well, but nah, they not Melvin Gordon.
and Melvin Gordon scores a lot of touchdowns.
Melvin Gordon is one of the, like I said, one of the most utilized, and he's also one of the most productive in terms of yards from scrimmage over the past couple of years. So I mean, he's a baller, you know what I mean? But it's gonna be, you're not in that same class as like Zeke and Le'Veon. So it's like you can hold out, but it may not work in your favor.
Yeah, I mean,
Because the Chargers can still win like
And-
some games without you.
and yeah, that and
I
the
agree.
and
I
the Chargers are notorious of being cheap.
Right.
Look what they did with Joey Bosa.
Exactly. The Chargers, they know they're the Clippers of LA. You know what I mean? Like they're the
Yeah,
little brother.
they're the little
Like,
That's
brothers.
facts. That's facts.
the Rams are the Lakers. They're the Showtime. They're the greatest, highlights on turf. You know what I'm saying? But greatest show on turf. But the Chargers
St.
are
Louis.
like that team where it's like, oh, okay, y'all are playing. Then we'll go catch y'all
Oh,
game.
y'all
You know
nice.
what I mean? Like they're the Skyhawks right now. Shout out to College Park.
I ain't mad at that.
Southside.
I respect how you put that. And I think Melvin Gordon should get his money too. I hope he does. But
I hope he does.
It'll
not
be
gonna trade
very
him, though.
interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see. One thing that is for sure great here in the SEC country, being in Georgia and being in Atlanta, is just about
Roll Tide.
when the college football season begins, you literally can smell it in the air. You hear it
Absolutely.
everywhere.
Go Tigers.
The grills are starting.
You just feel it. And we got about 3-4 weeks before the college football season actually
Absolutely.
kicks off. So it's got me to wondering, and I figured, man, I got to ask one of our college football experts. Sleepers. We hear a lot about Tua. We hear a lot about Trevor Lawrence. We hear a lot about the kid in Oregon, Hubert.
Justin Hubert.
Thank you very much. Give me one or two sleepers that America should keep their eyes on. That'll possibly be. We'll hear their name in the Heisman race as the season continues to unfold this year in the 2019 college football season.
Well, me being an Alabama fan, I'm always gonna roll with Tua. But if we got to go with sleepers who may be coming off the radar, especially being here in Georgia, I'm gonna go with Jacob Eason.
Okay,
Up in
former
Washington.
Bulldog.
Former Bulldog, former 5-star, former number 1 quarterback in the class.
And he is now at
He is now at University of Washington.
back home.
Back home.
UW.
So
So why him? What'd you see in that man?
well, Washington, they're known for having a pretty good offense. People forget a couple years ago they were in the college playoffs. You know what I mean? The college football playoffs.
They got smacked.
They lost. Yeah, they did. Alabama beat them, but here in Atlanta. But I think with his talent and being at home, and Chris Peterson is one of the best coaches that nobody talks about in college football. I think he is going to have a big season. Okay. He's in the Pac-12, so a lot of their games going to start at 10 o'clock. So
And-
you gonna have to
Have you heard, just quickly on that, have you heard that they're considering
moving up the game?
Yeah,
Play at 9.
I have.
Play at 9.
Start
I have.
games at it'll be 9 a.m. in their time, so it'll be noon here.
And I think that would actually be good for them.
But your fan base ain't gonna be out there like
They
that.
For
gonna
a
get out
fan
there.
base,
They'll
it'll be
get out
rough.
there. No, it won't. They'll get out
You
there.
won't have you. Well, I guess
You got
I'm
tailgate at 6.
I'm used to SEC. I'm used to.
But
SEC.
honestly, too, I'll say from staying in LA for some time, LA gets to moving 3-4 in the
early.
morning because there's so many people that are
yeah,
coming.
that's true, that's true,
It
that's
is
true.
like if you wake up at 9 o'clock in LA, like LA time, you are behind the 8 ball because it's noon here. So the world has been rolling. So no, people get the rolling. So cats should be out there 4 or 5 in the
Well,
morning.
I'm about to say because I'm gonna
They'd
tell you
be out
now.
there.
I remember I went to Tuscaloosa for the LSU Alabama game a couple years ago, and dog, we were up. The game wasn't until 7:30 at night. We were up in the quad at 7 a.m. ESPN was there. We were up there. People had hot dogs, beer.
Let's get this party started.
The cornhole was going. I was like, yo. it is too early for this. But after you had that first brew,
It's
you
the
like,
part- the
let's
blood
go.
gets
Like, let's go.
Hey, sidetrack. Are we going down to Tuscaloosa this year?
I'm all the way with it.
We'll talk about
I'm
that.
all the way with
Okay,
it. We'll
okay.
talk about
you say
it.
Jacob Eason and what
Jacob
he might
Eason
do in Washington.
and I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts,
Jalen
former
Hurts,
Alabama quarterback,
okay, and he is in
Oklahoma,
and
the
Oklahoma
home
has
of the
produced-
last two Heisman quarterbacks, last two Heisman winners,
And no more
Baker
picks.
Mayfield, Kyler Murray, both. Actually, if y'all want to look at trends, you got
Texas Tech.
Baker Mayfield coming from Texas Tech, transferring into Oklahoma. You got Kyler Murray from Texas A&M transferring into Oklahoma. You got Jalen Hurts transferring in from Alabama to Oklahoma. So you got a trend, and I think that their head coach, he's Lincoln Riley. He's one of those guys he's a young offensive mind. People call him offensive genius. And so I think what he knows is that Jalen Hurts isn't Baker Mayfield. He's not going to come out here and throw the ball all around the yard. He's kind of a mix. Kyler Murray, people forget Kyler Murray ran the ball a lot at 5'10" at Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts is 6'2", 230. He's solid. And I mean, even when he was at Alabama, he was one of the strongest players at Alabama at quarterback. He was a power lifter in high school. He is from Texas. You know what I mean? He's
cornbread
fed. He is a hefty, not hefty, but he's solid. So I think Lincoln Riley is going to utilize his legs a lot more than he used Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. People forget Oklahoma when they played Georgia in the college football playoffs. They were one of the best running teams in football. Like, people were enamored with Baker Mayfield because he was throwing the ball all around. You had Hollywood and all them. But at the end of the day, with Ronnie Anderson, they ran that football down your throat.
They had the best line in the country.
They won the award for best offensive line in football last year. Didn't do them much good against Alabama, but we'll go there later. But they run the football a lot. So now you have a quarterback who can run in between the tackles, outside the tackles, and you also have your running backs. They have a nice little stable of running backs right now, and they still have 3 out of 5 of their offensive line. So they're going to be able to run the ball. Jalen Hurts, he may go for throwing for 3,200 and running for 1,000 this year. And their offense is going to put up numbers because they're in the Big 12. Don't nobody play defense in the Big 12. So, you know what I'm saying? The only team you really have to worry about is Texas. So, hey, Jalen Hurts, you really have a streamlined way. All you got to do is beat Texas in that Red River rivalry. Probably had to play them again in the Big 12 championship game. You get to the college football playoffs, your name going to be in there. You're going to be in New York with Tua and Trevor Lawrence.
I'm going to throw 2 names out. My man Swift out here. Running back for Georgia.
He got to stay healthy.
Philly native. I'm going to throw his name in the hat and whatnot. And Justin Fields. We talked about him a little bit off camera. Ohio State. Justin Fields.
We'll have to see with him. I don't believe in him because just anything that I've seen so far shows me that he's not a dynamic thrower of the football.
We're going to see.
But we'll talk about it.
Break down the
we'll talk about it as the
later.
season comes on.
We're going to actually break down our predictions, our true Heisman predictions, our Final Four predictions. We're going to get real in depth here. You know how we do here. Y'all know how we do here.
You already know.
These urban times, Live Hip Hop Daily presents Sideline Stories. We still got one more segment to bring in. We're going to talk a little entertainment. ASAP Rocky is in a bit of a bind right now.
Boy.
There's been a few new albums that have come out this summer. We're going to discuss what we're listening to, what's going on out here, hip hop, R&B, and entertainment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about some entertainment and close out today's show.
I'm about to hit y'all with I got to sleep.